12 minutes to 7. If you've been to fill up your car over the past few days, you may have noticed the price of diesel is now almost the same as the price of petrol.
In fact, at some supermarket forecourts, it's even cheaper. Steph, this isn't very common at all, is it?
It isn't very common. In fact, it's been about 15 years before we've seen this before, and it's something that people are talking about at the moment. I've had lots of messages going, what's going on with the fuel prices? Morning, everyone. Yeah, for over a decade, diesel has typically been more expensive than petrol, but now it is falling. This time last year, it was £1.31 a litre for petrol, and diesel was about 5 pence more than that for a litre. Now, however, if you look at the numbers, it's £1.17 for petrol and £1.18 for diesel. So they've both come down and they're pretty close. So for an average fill, that's about half a tank. That means petrol drivers save over £3.50 and diesel drivers over £4.30. And that, of course, is compared to last year. Now, in the last few days, the supermarkets have been cutting diesel prices because they say the wholesale prices have been falling. But with me now is Howard Cox, founder of FairFuelUK, which has been campaigning about the cost of diesel and fuel generally. Howard, just give us a bit more context on why diesel's been coming down in price.
Well, no one really knows the actual real answer to this. For some reason or another, Europe is overproducing, and we import most of our diesel, and our refineries in this country have less of them. And believe it or not, diesel's cheaper to than petrol. So we can't understand why this is happening.
But it sounds like it's a case of there's more supply than there had been.
Absolutely.
And you think, however, that the retailers have been slow to bringing down the cost of diesel, don't you? Why?
Well, absolutely. I mean, last night's price of diesel was 3p lower than petrol per litre. And from that point of view, why isn't it 3p cheaper at the pumps? It's been like that for nearly 12 weeks now, and we estimate nearly £500 million has not been passed on to drivers. And with 10 million drivers and the whole heartbeat of the country, the commercial heartbeat of the country, on a truck, delivering, etc., we are being ripped off.
It's interesting, though, because retailers have often used petrol and diesel as a way to bring more punters in to do the shopping there. So why do you think they haven't been bringing it down? Because surely it's in their interest too.
Well, I think there's some opportunistic profiteering by retailers that's going on at the moment in time. They're making about 12p per litre on diesel and only 3 to 4p on petrol. We don't understand this, and we've challenged the Petrol Retailers Association to actually answer that particular accusation. Why are they actually profiteering on diesel?
Yeah, because it's quite an allegation. That what have the retailers said to you about it?
Well, they haven't come back to us. They've avoided our answers. And I spoke with the Minister last week, Damien Hines, he's responsible for fuel duty. And don't forget, 65% of what goes into the car is still tax. We asked him, would he have set up a public inquiry? And I await his response. Yeah,
so you want an inquiry on this. In the meantime, are we expecting any more cuts, do you think?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think because there is a glut of diesel, particularly, I think the impact, etc., across the whole of Europe will be incredible. But you've got to understand that 26 out of 28 European states price diesel already below £1. And you just mentioned £1.18, I think you said.
Yeah.
We're still about 18 to 20p more than the average of Europe.
And what about diesel cars here in this country? I mean, what's the popularity been like for them?
Well, because there's some bad press about diesel, we're talking with the government about having a scrappage scheme for diesel cars engines over 10 years of age. But modern diesel engines are very clean indeed. But there is bad press about it, and there has been a slight decline in the buying of brand new diesel cars.
So it looks like it's good news for those filling up their cars with diesel. What about petrol then?
Well, again, the question is, we've been fighting this campaign for long enough, and we're fighting on two fronts. One is the fuel duty issue, and we're calling for a cut in fuel duty because we pay the highest fuel duty in Europe. And of course, we're also looking at any opportunistic profiteering that's going on as well. So I'm afraid, I think we're going to be campaigning more and continuing, but we're still being ripped off in this country more than we should be.
OK, Howard, well, thank you very much for your time this morning. And if you have noticed the prices fall, do let us know what you've seen in terms of prices. It's always interesting that when you ask people, because you get such a wide variety of prices around the country.